The flag is raised. So the runners now walking forward, and they're off for the Ladbrokes Wayward Lad Novices Chase. This Grade 2 run over 2 miles, and Paul Townend immediately sends Ballyburn on into a clear lead. Rubo gives chase towards the inside rail. So Gino taken a little wider as they cross over the first fence. The leader, Ballyburn, reaches for it. So Gino also not that fluent. At the moment, it's Brookie at the back of the field as they race on towards fence number 2. And it's Ballyburn at a good early tempo. Rises just in front. So Gino restrained jumping that towards the stand side in a close share of second, with on the inside Rubo, and at the back of the field is Brookie as already reached fence number 3, and it was Ballyburn who had the lead in the centre. Rubo pushing up now towards the inside rails to Gino towards the grandstand side in a close third, and a break of 4 lengths to Brookie, who just slightly outpaced at the back of the field as they go into the stable turn. And it's Paul Townend and Ballyburn who have the lead as they race away from the enclosures to Rubo and Harry Cobden towards the inside. Nico de Boinville still wide on Sir Gino, racing in third, and then in fourth Rex Dingle on Brookie, and they go now towards the first of the 2 fences on the race away from the enclosures. The second of which is the first of 2 open ditches, and Ballyburn setting a stiff test here, but again he's closed down by Sir Gino on the outside, and now Sir Gino is the one who goes on as they race now on towards the open ditch. Sir Gino stood a long way off that. Beautiful jump by Sir Gino, led by a length and a half to Ballyburn in second, and their little battle has now pushed them 3 lengths clear of Rubo in third, and a further 3 lengths back to Brookie, who is last of 4. On the flat, Ballyburn moves back through to lead. So it's now Ballyburn who goes on as they go through halfway in the Ladbrokes Wayward Lad Novices Chase. Ballyburn and Paul Townend to the outside. Sir Gino and Nico de Boinville again going a little wider than Ballyburn, and now onto the line of 4 fences taken in the back straight. Very little between Ballyburn and Sir Gino over that. Rubo a little slower in the air, back in third, and Brookie last of 4. Another plain fence is the second one taken down the back straight. Again, Sir Gino stood a long way off that, and he jumped into a slender lead over Ballyburn. Now they have another 5 fences to take. This is the final open ditch. Sir Gino on the outside, asked again for a big effort there by Nico de Boinville, and Sir Gino was really scopy over it. Now they go towards the 4th from home. Sir Gino again, he asked for a very, very big stride there, and he jumped it beautifully. Sir Gino to the outside of Ballyburn, and this private battle now is carrying them some 15 lengths clear of Rubo, who just can't lay a glove on them, neither to Brookie, and now they begin to make the turn back towards home, and it's Sir Gino on his chasing debut, defending his perfect, unblemished, unbeaten record, leads to Ballyburn, and Ballyburn the first one now to be asked by Paul Townend, and Sir Gino attacks the 3rd from home. His lead's opened up to over 2 lengths now to Ballyburn in second position, and now they race on towards the second last. Rubo 20 lengths away back in third, over 2 out. Sir Gino quick and economical over it to Ballyburn, who shifted just slightly away to his left over it. Rubo still going in third, so to his Brookie, but it is Sir Gino setting his sights on the final fence. Sir Gino is over and clear. Ballyburn a bad mistake in second, but he was well beaten at the time. Sir Gino coming home, an exemplary round of jumping on his first start over fences. Sir Gino remains unbeaten. In second was Ballyburn, and then in third was Brookie.
Well, there aren't too many horses who put people through the gate here at Kempton Park, but surely Sir Gino is one of them. Nico de Boinville has ridden some of the greatest 2-mile chasers of this generation. I'm just saying, you've ridden some of the greatest 2-mile chasers we've ever seen. That horse is only 4. I almost can't believe what he did there, Nico. Just tell me how it felt.
A bit sketchy over the first. I don't think he was quite expecting jumping a fence going that quick. But to be in fairness, by the time we've turned down the side towards the open ditch, it all clicked, and he was so quick back on the ground after taking off that he was just taking lengths in the air. So yeah, delighted with him, and we knew he had the engine. It was just a case of whether he could put it all together.
And the way you drilled him into those 2 open ditches and the way he came for you, to what extent is that the measure of confidence you had in him from what you'd felt at home?
Well, he's got bags of scope, but then you saw at the last he can fiddle as well, so either which way.
Were you almost surprised that Ballyburn, it looked as though he almost couldn't go fast enough for you?
I'd say we'll see him in the stairs, I'd say.
In the 3 mile?
I would have thought.
Yeah, is that the way he looked to you, sort of looking at him in front of you for a few...
Yeah, I had a good look at him sort of coming up the hill there, and I just thought, yeah, he's a proper horse, but yeah.
You know, I mean, as I said, you've ridden some true greats in this sphere. You know, Sprinter Sacro, Altior, Shishkin. Do you think this horse has got the potential to be right up there with any and all of them?
I think so. He's got an enormous engine, but it's amazing around here. The fences come up really fast, and it's you know, you have to stay, but you have to be able to jump at speed and think quickly, and yeah, that suited Gino. You're
a realist. You know exactly what you're sitting on. You had great expectations coming here today. Is it reasonable to say he has exceeded those, or is that exactly what you anticipated?
I'd say he's exceeded them. I think he's progressed for a fence as well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well. Let's see what Nicky Henderson made of that. Now I can see why it was quite obvious you were itching to get this horse jumping fences in public, Nicky. Just give us your assessment of that, and particularly relative to what you were anticipating.
Yeah, we had tried this earlier on in the year as a possible alternative to staying hurdling, and it's sort of gone one way and the other a little bit. I mean, I will admit there was a couple of months ago, Charlie Morlock, myself and Nico, we took him out rather early one morning just to have a little look at him over fences, and it was in the dark. We thought we might do it before anybody, just so everybody didn't see it. I promise you, by the time we got back in, everybody had backed him, I think, for the Arkle and hadn't even seen it. But they hadn't, you know. It gets out very quickly, doesn't it? But he was just very good. So we knew we had the option to switch. Then it became necessary to bring him into the fighting fifth because we weren't ready with the boy from yesterday. So he came in and stood in, not as the sub, because he's a very good horse in his own right, but if they were going to both make it down the Champion Hurdle Road, one of them had to beat the other in simple terms, and schooled him again and again, and it was just the same. He's got so much scope. It just seemed the natural thing to do with the allowance, and he is a genuine 2-miler. He's very, very quick at it, isn't he? I mean, but the scope he's got is enormous.
And to be honest with you, you were saying you did it under cover of darkness. It looks as though he could do it blindfold anyway. Has he always just shown you that natural aptitude for being able to do stuff like this?
He's got a lot of... Actually, if you remember his first run over hurdles here, he broke 6 of them. That was my fault. I hadn't really schooled him properly. I just assumed because he'd come from France over the Auteuil hurdles, he'd jump English one. He would school him. And it never occurred to me that he might wonder what these were. And he was terrible. But actually, from there on, we schooled him a couple of times, and he was great. I mean, he's always had a huge amount of talent. It's quite brave to come take this route with a 4-year-old. Mind you, they've done it with... JP's doing it with Molesborough as well, so that's probably the... I hope that clash won't be the 2 4-year-olds meeting up. That would be crazy, but it'll happen, I hope.
And it'll take some serious horse, surely, to lower this fella's colours in a novice chase, won't it?
Well, he's a genuine 2-miler. You'd probably say this sort of track suits him really well because he's got a lot of speed. And I didn't expect to, I don't think Nico expected to actually been in front of, well, anywhere near that stage. But the horse was just taking him then. He said, well, what's the point of giving it and disappointing it? You got it in the bank, keep it. It was pretty good.
Was it in any way enjoyable to watch, or is it always terrifying when you've got a horse of this sort of scope and calibre?
Well, it was a bit, there was a similarity to yesterday when Constitution went to the second hurdle down the side there. Michael said, wow, when he was miles off it, wasn't he? And Michael said, wow. I said, no, because that's too soon for doing this sort of showy offy stuff. You're going to get racing too soon. And the same thing there when he jumped that last fence down there, and he took it up because that's what he was doing. He was just enjoying himself.
But you've trained your fair share of show-offs and posers in this division. None more showy nor more of a poser than the great Sprinter Sacro. I asked Nico de Boinville to dare to compare, and he was quite happy to come up for me. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, we've been very lucky. They've, like the hurdlers, they've got one thing in common, all those good hurdlers that we've been lucky enough to have from See You Then onwards, that the one attribute they had, they were very, very quick to cross the obstacle. I mean, they were just electric fast, binocular, Epiton, and Constitution, all of them, Bouvedere, they were just very quick. And again, with these good 2-milers, the one Altior was brilliant. Sprinter Sacra was just phenomenal. Remittance man in the good old days that most people won't remember, but he was pretty spectacular too.
He was indeed spectacular. Remittance man beating Morley Street on that chasing debut at Ascot. Sprinter Sacra beating Pedlar's Cross in this race, the Wayward Lad. This fella beating Ballyburn in a clash like this. The similarities are there, it's clear, it's evident. What would you like to do now with Sir Gino between now and the Big Spring Festival?
I think he has to have another run. I mean, I think, you'd say, well, what could you teach him? Probably not a lot, but it just got to be respecting these things. He's probably finding it was all a little bit too easy for him. I mean, not because of the competition, just for the fact that the jumping came right. It's a lovely track to introduce novices round. It's perfect. It gives them an opportunity to learn without facing the big tests, which you're going to get at the Sandowns, Ascots, Cheltenhams. They're a different test, and you've just got to have your wits about you a little bit more, possibly, than you do need to around here. But this is a great place to start.
We spoke a little this morning, and you said Constitution Hill had eaten, and he pulled out nicely this morning. All happy?
Yeah, everybody was very happy, and he trotted up. He was sound. He's probably the most moderate trotter you'll ever see, but that's the way he is, and he was very underwhelmed by the whole occasion. I think he enjoyed yesterday, though. I mean, I've never seen him when he was walking round here afterwards. He actually sort of stood up and pricked his ears and, hello.
Is that the first time you've seen that for a little bit?
Yeah, I think he just had something about him yesterday that, oh, okay. Whereas this morning he was just back to being Constitution Hill. So what?
Been a tense but nicely tense few weeks. Can you just breathe a little more easily tonight?
Yes, you can, but I mean, it's what it's all about. We're very, very lucky. Two things. One, we've got some fantastic horses and an absolutely enormous, fantastic team at home that help put this together. And as everybody does, that it doesn't happen. It's no one person, it's hundreds of people that matter. We're just very lucky. And when it's right and the horses are well, you have got to make the most of it, because those dull, bad days like there were in March last year, they'll come again. We know that. Everybody knows that. And that was a tough time when Sir Gino couldn't go to Cheltenham. Constitution couldn't go to Cheltenham. Dear Shishkin wasn't even there. And, those tough days make you appreciate the good ones.
Can I have one final word for the rider? 48th Grade 1 win yesterday for Nico de Boinville. There aren't many riders in modern history who've ridden that many Grade 1s. How important is it for you when you're training horses of that calibre to have the input that he can give you on the schooling ground and then translate that to the racecourse?
Well, it's vital. I mean, we've always been very lucky with stable jockeys, if you like. They've been a part of the team, not just as the rider on the day, part of the team at home, schooling, working, feeding the information. And with him and James Bowen, we're a very strong team again, and it's just terrific. And, they've always been very good friends, Mick Fitz, Barry. It's gone on for years, and, they've all served us very, very well. Nico's been with us a very long time, and it's a good squad, and James is brilliant. He's going to, he will be at the very top.
Nicky, well done.
Thank you, Nick.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.